I've spoken with some colleagues and stuff in the past. I do work a little bit in real estate as well. You know, if we want people to come and invest in our community, or our own young people. I have 2 children in college right now, going to school in the medical field. If I want them to have any chance coming back here, you know, the chance of them coming back in here and being able to purchase a $350,000 home to start off with as a young couple are next to none. I mean, so, you know, and I know that a lot of that's market driven and way beyond anybody in here's scope, but just the affordability issue is a little bit of concern. So that kind of goes back to the 8 dwelling, the townhome. I don't know if you can focus a little more on what the prices might be of those. And then whether or not you guys coordinate with local school officials and EMS, police, those type of things to see what we can actually service here.
There'd be planning coordination going through. Yeah, we haven't, nothing's been done yet because I mean, we're not even there yet. We're in an annexation right now. We haven't got to land use and zoning change yet. We have coordinated with the utilities department, you know, knowing that there's excess capacity there. But, you know, nothing with EMS yet. I have talked with City Library Police Department a little bit, you know, just tell them what's going on. But, you know, nothing with other first responders or the school usually goes with the concurrency impact in the land use and zoning changes. When you're changing the densities, that analysis usually is done there. But nothing on our end yet of planning.
Well, I understand, once again, I understand growth. I understand if I go back to 2007, this county was supposed to go from 40,000 to about 80,000 people, double by 2008. And we talk about jobs, and one of the biggest complaints down here from Lake City, there's too many restaurants. And we talk about restaurants coming in, but real jobs that's going to pay real money that can be able to afford these $350,000 homes. We have restaurant business here now that are, you go about some of these businesses, they're looking for help because folks are not, they're not applying or they're walking off these jobs. They can walk now to another job and have to wait 6 months to a year to find a job. They can get one probably the same day that somebody's going to hire them because they're in desperate need of employees. But $350,000, I don't know what's, I think our average income now, I'm gonna say between $50,000–$60,000. That might be shooting a little low, but affordability for these homes, then we're looking at folks who are within this city and county already. Then these type homes, you're looking for folks that who are moving in, coming from other areas that will be pretty much occupying these homes. But we still haven't even done anything for our own people here, our homeless, or folks who are trying to afford something that they pretty much can't. Yes, the market is way up there. I mean, when houses are back in the 50s or so, we might have been $45,000 for bringing them home and all that, but we've seen things that have increased over the years, and they probably go higher than that. Because looking at the stock market, 3,800. But the thing is, I still haven't gotten a good concrete, maybe you cannot answer that, but for us getting these homes and occupying these homes, 450 residents in these homes, yeah, that would make a great impact for if you're moving a business back this way. I do remember that our growth was going south. There was once upon a time we were talking about building a high school between Branford and Live Oak, just having one high school at that point in time. But over the course of years, growth changed and started going north because of our interstate. So if you can, if you cannot, my thing still is about occupying all these homes is a time frame that these homes will be occupied, purchased and bought. Once again, Azalea Park, 5 homes, I think maybe 5 or 6. Nothing happened for another, I don't know, maybe 10 years. Now, because this company came and started building these homes, series of affordable homes, they started out about 100,000, now they're 175,000. Can you answer anything?
Mr. Sessions, yeah, I've got another comment.
You got it. Hold on.
So, I said to Miss Linda, this man's an engineer. We're here for the purpose of discussing voluntary annexation. We're asking so many specific questions of a man that's been put on the spot here. He's just trying to let us know what they can do as far as how many they can build, what the parameters are that they have to follow. We're not talking about discussing costs of things or whatever, you know. We're actually here just to talk about voluntary annexation. And the annexation, what it will do for part of the city that's annexed, any part of the city, because my interest is infrastructure. And we have so many dead-end water lines in the city that people live with the brown water problems. So one of my top concerns with annexation is to what I call loop the system, which creates the constant pressure of all the fire hydrants, which creates a better quality of fire service, probably better insurance rates for the people that live in Live Oak, a better ISO 9000 rating from the fire services, reduction of the brown water that I've only heard of here in Live Oak when I've been here. I know I've ran a business for the last 9 years, and every time they flush the hydrant on the corner of Gold Kist and Royal Street, that we never drank the water at the business because of the brown water. So annexation to me is fixing the infrastructure in Live Oak and getting the water up where it needs to be, the pressures up where it needs to be, so the fire department's not saying, well, I can't use this one because I know it's low pressure on a fire, that all the pressures will be up on all of the hydrants. So we improve what we have underneath the streets, and if we annex, that helps me loop the system and get rid of the dead ends and the brown water. So we're talking about a voluntary annexation at this point, and I think we're beating these people down over specifics that they know nothing about at this point. There's some land that was for sale, somebody wanted to sell it, there's a developer interested in it, but to move forward in any direction, we can't do anything, and our discussion here tonight is annexation. That's what we need to decide. Do we want to annex this part and improve the water and the sewer and the gas production to more people that are moving in or building? Or do we want to just stay within our city limits and keep the brown water and keep the suspect fire hydrants and things like that? So it's really it's an annexation question tonight than it is specifics on building and costs. And I, as a county commissioner, I was on the North Central Florida Regional Planning Council. And when things like this came along, it was brought to us in a clearinghouse meeting where we discussed impacts on cities. Like, I'll give you an example, one in Silver Springs in Ocala. They had a subdivision going down there, very similar size, and the discussion was what was the impact on Highway 441 and 301, and we discussed with the exact same metrics that he used from the DOT about how much utilization there would be on the highways. And we all know that the county years ago built all the schools in one spot, and it was a great thing back then before we grew. And now it's a problem. And the fact that people don't ride school buses anymore, and the moms and the dads are taking their kids to breakfast in Eliano's and then dropping them off, you have 3 times as many vehicles and traffic than the kids riding the school buses maybe they should. So that's an impact, and it's part of our own problem that we've caused by taking our kids to school instead of letting them ride the bus or walk. So, we ought to be real as far as understanding where we're at. I'm not saying I'm for or against annexation at all. I know that if we annex it, I will improve the infrastructure. If we don't, then I won't be able to. But the discussion is not pricing It's not affordability, it's, are we gonna annex this or not? That's what we really need to decide here tonight. And then after annexation, other things will happen, there'll be more workshops and more chances to come to our meetings to discuss this, to either say thumbs up or thumbs down.
Okay, my
That's
thing
all I
is,
have.
okay, here's my thing, now, I'm the bad person. When we start talking about annexation, okay, wouldn't it be, to me, more feasible if we take care of what we're already working on first and get that straightened out, and then work on setting it, expanding? Because right now, there's so much infrastructure that we have to do right now in the city that needs to be taken care of. So my thing is the funding, right? How much funding is we're talking about? How much is this gonna cost us? You look at Miss Joanne.
No, JL.
Oh, JL.
We're working on grants right now, and just this part of town. And there's other parts of town that are gonna come to us and ask for 300 or 400 housings also, in the future. But we only have to hook up from past the library to Bass Road and down to the school. So as far as running water, it's not a big deal to run, the distance that we're gonna run, by, looping that part of town.
Okay. But here's,
So,
all right, here's something that was brought up years ago. We said that any new structure that was coming into, we had this discussion over, behind, what's Wainwright place over here, that a new building, gas, remember we talked about the gas? I mean, it had to be a gas, that's how we were gonna make some of our money. Remember that when the buildings, if a new house or whatever was built, apartments or whatever, then the city had said that, we had agreed with that. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. John, would you correct me if I'm wrong? What did we talk about that? Anytime that anything new came into the building, it was gonna be city gas.
You're correct.
I'm correct? Which, I mean, they don't know what we're talking about. So are you planning?
It was for that apartment complex there on Townsend's, that specific one.
So that was another thing. So are we talking about, are we gonna do that as well? We're gonna look at all that when we start annexing it, that it have to be it have to be gas. When you build out there, your houses have to be city gas. We thought we had that down before, and then some kind of way, yes, I'm the devil's advocate when it comes down to talk about money with the city. And then it got to the point where it didn't go through. But these are some of the things that I'm concerned about when we start talking about the city. Don't tell us one thing and then all of a sudden in the midway, then everything changes. And that's, I mean, this is just real talk. I mean, you might think that I'm just blowing steam, but
I totally agree with you. We talked about infrastructure within the city, and we've been telling our residents, citizens within this city, I think the biggest issue that we have and complaint that we have is that our roads are bad, our streets are bad, and all that. And then now we're trying to move to another phase and bring in and annex in another section. But what are we doing for our citizens who are in this city now, who's supporting with utilities, who's paying bills, and they seeing their utility bills going up, and been never seeing any progress being made? It seems like if now we'll move to something else in development, I don't know what this company's going to be asking for, whatever perks, tax exemption, and all of that. If we're going to give them that, or we're going to be like the catalyst site out there with Klausner. Klausner got free tax money and was building somewhere else at the same time in Carolina. So, Mr. Session, since you brought this up, what are we going to do for the citizens? Present time right now. We're talking about the future, but right now, what are we for the infrastructure and getting things done here?
We're working on grants right now to do this, but you have to actually have a plan to move forward. And, you know, I'm a rookie here in this room compared to everybody else. I'm brand new, but I have a vision and a plan to improve the infrastructure, what I said from day one. And that doesn't happen immediately without millions of dollars to make sure you have in your pocket before you start. I want to start, you know, places like we've already got money for over there on, what is it, the 3 streets over there, JL, Lincoln and
Lincoln Center and Horn.
Lincoln Center and
Horn.
Horn. So we already have plans to do that. So for the city, the people of the city of Live Oak, that's where I'm gonna start, is where we already have the plans for. But annexation is not gonna hurt us. All annexation would do, if we end up with a subdivision, it'll be more revenue to help fund other things too. Like I said, I'm not for it or against it. It's up to y'all to make that decision tonight, whether we're gonna annex it or not, and then we move forward step by step. We keep asking this man specifics of things that he's just an engineer, and he can't tell you about 2007 and 8 years of college.
Because you know why he's asking these questions? Because they won't ask, and they sit here, and this is a problem. We sit here in the meetings and we don't talk about things that are for real. We sit here and we make the decision, and we come back, and then you are gone. You're here today, and you're gone tomorrow.
I've been here for a while.
You know, and I love the fact that you're what you're saying, and you're a realist. You're a realist when it comes down to you telling us that you can't.
Hold on. Okay. So I
That's how he does me, right? Okay.
Can I-
And so-
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, you know, we're not asking the city to do anything for us at this point. You know, you're talking about what should the city be doing to fix these other places. We're not asking you to do anything for us right now.
right now.
Well, I wouldn't say that we would be in the future. You know, there could be, you know, some kind of utility impact fee, but, you know, we intend to develop all of our utilities on our own. You know, we're not asking anything to be given to us. So, you know,
I
I understand what you're saying, like, y'all should be doing this in these places that need it, that you already have, but we're gonna give you something else, we're gonna add on to it, you know? We're gonna give you additional revenue.
Well, I can understand that. You saying developing, you might sell 100 homes per year. So over a 4 to 5 year period, that subdivision will be filled with residents.
But that'd be their target, you know,
That's your target, and that's your target. Like I'm saying, I've seen some things around here that have been subdivided and been sitting dormant for years. But finally finally it begins to move. Because the economy went rock bottom in 2008, everything went to a halt.
Mr. President, can I ask that we counsel and hear from the people?
Yeah, that's exactly what we need to do, but you guys keep on. If you guys want to keep on, we'll keep on.
All right. I'll sit down if y'all, President. Okay, thank you.
Madam President,